As usual, I wanted to dive into something that feels a bit off about the classes in the Nasuverse. Last week, I talked about the foreigner class and how the meaning of foreign varies wildly between its members. A few weeks before that, I broke down how riders have all kinds of different riding concepts, with some being pretty unique. Same with archers, lancers, and berserkers. This time, I want to talk about assassins. Naturally, I started researching what angle to tackle this class from. Honestly, this class is pretty straightforward. They're heroic spirits skilled in operating covertly, staying stealthy, and working silently. It's one of the weaker classes in terms of combat, since most assassins have low attributes due to lacking the glorious legends of traditional heroes. Instead, they're specialized for offing masters, not servants. What makes the assassin class unique is how different it is compared to the more formal knight classes like saber or archer, who follow chivalry and fair duels. Assassins don't care about that. They'll go for the most unfair and advantageous conditions to strike. With the right setup, an assassin can actually match or even defeat other servants. Their class-specific skill, presence concealment, helps them stay undetected while spying or setting up ambushes. Looking at the members of this class, I'd say they all fit the mold pretty well. They're quick fighters like ninjas, Hitakiri swordsmen, Hashashin clan members, hitmen, and straight-up chillers. That said, there are some exceptions that I noticed. Their concept of assassin is weird and unique. Well, I don't mean weird in a bad way though, it's just unusual. Let me show you what I mean. So earlier, I mentioned that assassins are typically all about fast combat, taking down masters first, and using whatever dirty tricks they've got to win, right? Each of them has their own way of sneaking into places and launching attacks that play to their unique abilities. Now, keeping all of that in mind, the whole assassin concept, let's take a look at some assassins who take the idea and twist it into something a little different. Charles-Henri Sanson. I'm pretty sure you can already tell why I say this guy is unique among assassins. He's an executioner. Yeah, that was literally his job. Passed down through generations in his family. He executed people. But here's the thing. In a way, this lines up perfectly with the usual assassin role. Assassins are all about offing quickly, avoiding unnecessary fights, and going straight for the target. In Sanson's case, he avoids fights because his targets are already part of the system. They're delivered right to him, and he just finishes the job with a guillotine. See? Kinda similar. Now, in the Fate series, after becoming a heroic spirit in the assassin class, Sanson can fight just as well as any other heroic spirit. He even carries this massive sword with a blade shaped like a guillotine. Sanson also has skills that put him on par with other assassins. Again, same role, but with a twist. His context is execution. Assassins usually aim for vital spots to take their target out in a single strike. You've seen this in Heaven's Feel, right? Whether it's the heart, the head, or any critical area, the goal is to finish the job quickly and efficiently. In Sanson's case, he studied human anatomy during his career as an executioner. Why? So his executions wouldn't cause unnecessary suffering. He learned exactly which points to hit to ensure a clean and painless end. On the other hand, in his career as a heroic spirit assassin, it's a skill or knowledge that sits on the fine line between execution and medical knowledge. Sanson didn't just wing it. He researched where to wound the human body without killing someone, leaving no lasting symptoms or visible trauma. Flip that around, and it means he also knows exactly where to strike during a fight to inflict non-lethal injuries. Basically, the guy knows how to break you down in a fight without actually offing you, unless, he wants to. And I think that's really unique. If Sanson is an assassin with the executioner concept, offing within a system, then Semiramis' concept is more of a free-for-all. She doesn't really do it in hiding. Well, it's hidden, but not really hidden. We've seen what this woman can do in Fate Apocrypha. When I say her concept is hidden, but not hidden, it's because her methods are way too massive, but the execution itself is still just as quick as any other assassin. This is because Semiramis's assassin concept is blended with another class, caster. She has a unique skill that allows her to be summoned in both classes at the same time. That's why, when she fights, her style feels completely different and gives off a huge or massive impression. Now, of course, if she wants to off someone without doing something big, she can absolutely do that. But this is based on her battle in a Holy Grail war against other heroes and legends. Normally, assassins operate unseen or barely visible. That's why they have the presence concealment skill, right? Think Assassin's Creed for a second. They use hidden blades and hooded cloaks to stay unnoticed. In the Nasuverse, you've got ninjas moving at lightning speed, or the Hassans pulling off insane maneuvers to avoid being seen. Most assassins stick to that formula. In Semiramis' case, because her concept is a mix of classes, her agility is low, and her presence concealment is pretty weak too, so she fights with attacks that are bold and out in the open. But even with those limitations, she's still got her own way of covering for it. You could say she found her own version of moving unseen. Instead of sneaking around like a typical assassin, she uses her noble phantasm to create a massive flying fortress that hovers hundreds of meters up in the sky. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's still technically unseen, just way bigger and higher up. This same logic applies to her weapons. Sure, chains and poison totally fit the assassin method, but when she uses her noble phantasm or her garden, Semiramis can fire high-speed magic lasers that can instantly off someone. Let's be real, this method feels way too fancy for an assassin. Then again, the fact that she can create her own hanging gardens is definitely more of a caster thing. Now, with weapons and skills like these, her assassin status feels a little thin. So instead of relying on the pinpoint accuracy most assassins are known for, she compensates by making her lasers massive. If it hits, it hits. There's no walking away from that. You see what I mean? One strike and nobody sees it coming. In a way, it's still similar to what assassins do best. Oh, and I forgot she can also open portals to move quickly and instantly, which helps cover her weakness of not being very agile. Honestly, I love this concept. It reminds me of those comedic relief characters in a group of badasses who somehow end up looking badass themselves. Like, there's always another way to match the standard, just not in the usual way. But in the end, I get why Semiramis is still in this class. If you look at her intense fight against Mordred, she manages to off a master without even defeating their servant. Yep, she nailed the core job of an assassin, eliminating the core target by any means necessary. Those two were unique examples of assassins with unconventional concepts. But there's another assassin whose entire concept is unique because someone else does the killing. Well, to be exact, another version of himself. Henry Jekyll is an assassin with a concept that feels a bit like a used tool. I don't want to say it like that, but Jekyll is a heroic spirit who can't really fight. If he were summoned into any other class, he'd have no combat abilities at all. Sure, he can fight, but his stats are incredibly weak compared to other heroic spirits. In fact, he's so weak that he blends in with regular society without any effort. That's actually why he gets the presence concealment skill. But when a fight gets intense, Jekyll transforms into his other self, Edward Hyde, the personification of all his evil traits. In this form, Hyde becomes a berserker, and this version can actually fight. It's just that because he is no longer weak and often goes on a rampage, his presence concealment skill drops greatly. Honestly, the class switching concept is super unique in FGO. I think he's the only one who can do this, right? I'm not entirely sure though, but I really like this concept, even if Jekyll has a pretty bad reputation in the game because of his gameplay. Oh well. Even though Jekyll himself never actually killed anyone in his lifetime, his other side certainly did. But then there are heroic spirits who somehow end up in the assassin class for entirely different reasons. I'm talking about characters whose background and fighting style are way off the mark for a typical assassin. Take Kichi Hogan, for example. This woman is clearly rocking a spear, fights in a flashy and stylish way like a lancer, and has a loud, straightforward personality. And yet somehow, she's in the assassin class. To make it even weirder, her presence concealment skill is super low, meaning she's pretty bad at hiding, something assassins are usually known for. Even she comments that she really should have been summoned as a lancer. This is pretty interesting because I feel like Kichi Hogan's assassin concept is mixed in with her original intent for showing up. Think about it. Why did Hogan even show up in that event? It was to punish Ushiwakamaru for her behavior in the past, right? So maybe, just maybe, her desire to punish her students so brutally somehow manifested in her combat style as an assassin. But if you're asking, why assassins specifically? Well, Ushi is a rider, isn't she? So it makes sense that if Hogan wanted to discipline her, she'd choose a class that has a natural advantage against riders. What do you guys think? Please subscribe and see you guys next time.